Hi, thanks for joining us for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South. I'm Chris Cooper. The cool weather of early spring is perfect for growing broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower. Today we're going to plant them. Also, there are many kinds of trees to choose from at the nursery, but which is the right kind for your yard? That's just ahead on the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South.
Production funding for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South is provided by the WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to the Family Plot. I'm Chris Cooper. Joining me today is Walter Battle. Walter is the UT County Director in Haywood County, and Joel and Diamond will be joining us later. All right, Walt, cool weather crops, right?
Yes.
Cauliflower,
Yes.
broccoli,
Yes.
right? How about
All
that?
the good stuff.
All the
Yeah.
good stuff.
Cabbage, my favorite.
Cabbage?
Yes.
I like cabbage. That's
Yes.
right.
And you know, Chris, the wonderful thing about these crops, the brassicas,
Okay.
is that they can take cold temperatures.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you can plant them, you know, in the spring as well as, you know, in the fall. There
Okay.
are fall planted ones as well. And, you know, when you look at brassicas, over 50% of the leafy crops that's consumed in the world come from that family.
How about that?
Yes.
It's pretty good percentage.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And, you know, they also a crop that don't really have a whole lot of issues.
Good.
They grow well in all types of conditions. They can take soils that are high in clay. They can take soils that are high in sand, and of course anything in between. So
Good.
it's really a good crop for gardeners to grow, particularly beginning gardeners, because they're going to pretty much have success growing them if they follow the date.
And that's what you want them to have, right? You
Yes,
want them to
that's
have
right.
success, and you want them to succeed, right?
That's right.
All
That's
and
right.
The harvest. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. All right. So how do we go about planting our
Okay.
brassicas? All right. What do
Well,
we need to know about the soil? You know, getting the soil ready.
Sure. Well, as far as getting the soil ready, like any other crop, they want a well-drained soil.
Okay,
That's
well-drained.
what they want. Also, they like to have what I would call a pre-plant fertilizer, something like 6-12-12 to go with them, because they just tend to do better when they have that little boost of fertilization there to get started with. That's been successful for me. Now other people may, you know,
Right.
say something different,
Right.
but that works for me. Also, I kind of like to, if I'm planting them in a field, I kind of like to have them ridged up a little bit, you know, and plant, you know, within the ridge, but in, you know, a raised bed here,
right.
you know, we can work around that.
Okay.
That's no problem to get started on that.
Okay.
So I would like to show one thing about these plants is that I want people to kind of remember, if you're planting them in the garden, I want you to remember 36-15.
36,
Yes,
15.
36-inch row, width between rows, and 15 inches apart. And that usually take care of
They
it.
do? Okay.
But here in the raised bed, we'll plant them a little closer because we can kind of get things a little closer. So here we have some cabbage here, and all you really want to do is just kind of squeeze that out. And I would like to make a comment here
Okay.
on this. Notice how beautiful these roots are.
nice root system.
Nice and white. That's what you want when you buy any kind of transplant. So you look at it, that's really nice. And I like to kind of tickle that a little bit, you know, to kind
Make
of
it up
get
a little
that
bit.
going.
Make it up a
And
little bit.
what I'll do, I just simply dig a spot here. And I usually plant mine, I go about maybe 2 inches, maybe 3 inches deep. And then I just kind of rake around it.
Okay.
And that usually works pretty good. And I do kind of push it up a little bit when I
little
put it on
ridge you were
raised
talking
bed
about?
so that they can have that little, you know, flow, the drainage there. I'll plant another one here as well. Let me go.
Now, while you're doing that, so we do have some plants that have some, you know, stems that are broken or anything like that. What do we need to do? We need to pinch that off, or?
Yes, you can pinch them off, and that'll work good.
Okay.
But basically, they'll do okay. But I
They'll do
just
okay,
usually
okay.
break them on off.
I just break them on off?
Yes,
Okay.
and they're fine.
All right.
Again, here we go again. Let me get here, and again I kind of pull it up a little bit so that it can have some drainage. Now we also have some cauliflower.
Okay. Cauliflower.
Yes, and And I mean, cauliflower is just, again, one of my favorites. And the same thing, we're gonna go about, in this bed, I'm gonna go about 12 inches apart, put it down about 3 inches, and there we go. Again, just kind of
Make that little ridge you were
lift
talking
that up
about.
a little bit,
Okay.
get that good drainage. Let's see, here's my cauliflower.
Good root systems on those as
Good
well,
root
right?
system.
Right.
I mean, that's really
That's
what
good
you,
there. Yeah, it is.
I mean, that's what you want. And like I said, they can take any kind of soil condition pretty much. Let me get this one straight a little bit.
Okay.
Straighten that one up a little bit.
Now, would you plant your broccoli the same way?
Plant broccoli the same way. Collards, because some people will plant the collards this way, because they actually do plant them in where they get bunches instead of broadcasting.
Okay.
Now, there are some people who plant radishes. And radishes, what I like to do with them, again, about a 36-inch row. And I like to plant my radish seeds, because I direct seed plant those. Go about maybe an inch deep, maybe not that far, maybe a half inch, and cover up, and they'll be fine. Planted about 3 inches apart.
Okay.
Now, in also dealing with these, you have the green crops as well, and your turnip greens, your mustard greens, spinach. I tend to broadcast mine. That's how I sow them. In other words, I sow them.
So when do we need to plant our cool season vegetables?
Well, you'll want to plant your broccoli, your cauliflower, and your cabbage 30 days before your last frost.
Okay. So how long before we get to harvest?
Okay.
With our cabbage and
Well, probably
cauliflower.
I would say you're probably looking at easily a good 60 days or so.
Okay.
You know, hey, you can't beat that. Have a cabbage in 60 days. I'll take that anytime. But it takes them about a good 2 months to grow and form the head. Now, one of the problems that you can get with them is in the event that you have like these cool seasons, but then you have like that extended warmth period, they can bolt.
They'll bolt, right.
And by bolting, we mean that plant will try to flower. It wants to produce a flower. And so you'll end up getting these little, the heads won't fill out correctly. You'll have those kind of
taste
issues.
is, it's bitter to the taste.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, another thing as far as insects, now you're going to get cabbage worm,
You're gonna get the
and you're
cabbage
going to get
worm.
the cabbage looper.
Yeah.
I'm just sorry, that's what you're going to get whenever you plant cabbage and broccoli. You're just going to get those two, but don't panic, do not sweat. Any product that contains BT, Bacillus, what's that? Bacillus
Thuringiensis.
Okay, there
Right.
you go.
There you go.
Any product that contains that, you'll be fine. Just spray it on there. The worm will eat that, and that'll take care of the worm. And it's safe for humans, so
Yes.
you have no
Safe.
issues there. It's even approved for organic growing, so you have no problems there. That's really the big one. Another thing that you can get is some dampening off issues if you just water too much.
Gotcha.
You can get pythium or something like that, but we know really good gardeners will not do that. They
That's
know
right.
they're gonna have that. They're gonna use that hand to measure to make sure it's moist and not real wet. So they shouldn't have those issues.
So, Walt, we appreciate that demonstration.
Yes, sir.
With our
Thank you. for having
cool
me.
season vegetables.
Oh,
right?
yes.
We'll see how they do.
Oh, they'll do fine.
All right. Thank you
Yes.
much. Now, here's a term that we hear about all the time now, native plants.
Oh, that's another one that there's a lot of confusion about. When do we say it's a native?
Yes.
And I can give you a whole bunch of definitions, but I think the one that is most reasonable and the one that would make the most sense would be a plant that grows naturally in a particular area, an ecosystem or a habitat or region of the country without indirect or direct human intervention. It was there originally, and when we talk about the eastern United States, and we talk about native plants in the eastern part of the country, those are the plants that were here when the Europeans came.
Okay.
And that's the sort of the standard definition of a native plant in the eastern part of our country, is what was here, growing here naturally when the Europeans first came.
Okay.
Unlike kudzu,
Exactly.
Which is brought
and
over.
privet.
and
Yeah.
privet.
Which is
Yeah,
brought
and
over.
tallow tree and the Japanese honeysuckle
Right.
and all these things that are invasive plants that were introduced into this country, either indirectly, brought in on, some kind of wooden pallets or, things or whatever, seeds get hung and all kind of things.
Right.
And can be brought in, not intentionally. And then intentionally we have brought things in, that we thought were going to be a good plant, like kudzu. I
Yeah.
think the Corps of Engineers brought those
Yeah,
in
erosion
for
control,
erosion
railroads,
control,
yeah.
and now they're, they call it the plant that ate the
That ate
South.
the South.
Yeah.
All right, Joelle, let's talk about tree varieties to consider
Yes, for the homeowners.
for the homeowner. And we know
Yeah.
you love trees. And
Oh, I love
you like
trees.
talking about trees.
I
so
do.
these are again for the homeowner.
Because they're for homeowners,
Okay.
yes. We're going to start off with Amelanchier arborea, the
Okay.
downy serviceberry. This is zone 4 to 9, so it's a very large zone that it is available in. It gets 15 to 25 feet tall, so a nice small tree for someone's yard. It has white blooms in the spring, which is nice. And it has good fall color, yellows, kind of reds,
Yeah, I like
and,
that.
and a little bit of the oranges. Loves full sun
Full sun.
to partly shady areas. And it does best in well-drained soil. And it's a really pretty tree. It's small. It's a nice tree for the home, and it's not used as much as it could be. So, really good one to consider.
Downy. Let's see if we can
The
get folks to
downy
start considering
serviceberry.
that. Okay.
Yeah. Our next one is Carpinus caroliniana, the American hornbeam. This tree is zoned 3 to 9, so it even has a larger range. Of course, it's a native tree to the U.S. Its height is 20 to 30 feet, so it's a little bit taller, but it's not a thick tree. It's not a real full tree when it's not in the sun.
Okay.
The trunk of this, it's very slow growing. And the trunk of it, you can recognize it along the banks of rivers and stuff because it's got considered muscly wood. It's really smooth bark that looks like it's got muscles on it.
How about that?
So very, very nice, smooth, muscular looking tree trunk.
Okay.
It can take wet soils because that's where it's found naturally is around stream beds and things like that on hills. Of course, it's usually on an incline, so that's why it likes well-drained soil.
Makes sense.
Of course, partly shady areas best. And in the fall, it has some nice fruiting. They're 2 to 4 inches long and they hang down. And it's called an infructensis that's 2 to 4 inches long.
I've seen those.
So they're very, very pretty and very showy in the fall.
Okay.
Something nice to look forward to.
Can you eat it? Is it
No,
okay.
cannot
So it's not
eat.
edible.
No,
Okay.
not
Good.
edible. Next is Cercis canadensis, the eastern redbud. And there's a reason why this one's given away a lot because it's a native tree and it does very well. Zones 4 to 9. It gets 20 to 30 feet on average. There are some that get taller than that, but it averages out across the United States is 20 to 30 feet.
Okay.
It's going to have reddish purple flowers in the spring. It's one of the
Love it.
harbingers of spring.
Yes,
You say,
love
winter's over and spring is going to be blooming. And of course, then after it finishes blooming, it has these beautiful heart-shaped green leaves on it. Just gorgeous, really outstanding. In the fall, it will have little pea pods because it actually is part of the pea family.
Right.
Yeah. Likes full sun to part shade, and it does well in many soil types, which is another reason why it's very popular across the United States because it just isn't particular about the soil. It just doesn't like standing water, so just don't put it in standing water soils. And there are many, many cultivars of this to choose from. Flower colors, leaf colors. They even have weeping form, so there's
Nice.
just all kinds of plants of this to choose from.
Yeah, I have that
Very
in
nice.
my backyard. Yeah, I love
Yes.
when it comes out in the spring.
Very nice tree.
And those pods are actually edible.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
No, I did not know
They're
that.
actually edible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't
it's
ask
from
me
the
how I
pea-
know that.
it's from the pea family.
It's from the pea family. You want to try it out and see. Yeah. All right.
Our next one is the Cornus species.
Okay.
I didn't put
Familiar.
any specific one down because there are so many that do well, and they're all kind of small trees, under 30 feet. They live in zones 4B to 8, which is a large category. They all have beautiful spring blooms. Now, in the fall, they also have good color on their foliage, and the fruit is also an attractive quality for the dogwoods. Now, then our native Cornus florida, found along the roadsides, that is probably the most, when people think dogwood, that's what they think of. There are a lot of great varieties that are, again, disease resistant, and so try to pick those. There's a Kousa, Cornus Kousa. It blooms after the leaves come out. It's one of the few that do that. The rest of them usually bloom before the leaves come out, but these bloom after. And they can take more sun than the other dogwoods. Most of them, when you think of a dogwood, you think of it as a kind of an understory tree. So that's why it needs a partly shady area, because where it's found naturally is at the edge of the forest. So you got to think of that, and for your yard, where do I have? I mean, a building can shade it and be partly shady. So, you just got to be aware that it does need some shade. Then we have the Crataegus phenoperum, the Washington hawthorn. It is zones 4 through 8, and it gets 25 to 30 feet tall. Beautiful white flowers in the spring, and some varieties and cultivars of this have a spectacular red berries in the fall. So very, very nice for that. Nice tree, good green color to it. One thing you have to watch about the hawthorn is hawthorn. It has thorns.
It has
on.
thorns.
Yeah, they have thorns
All
on
right,
them.
gotcha.
So you just kind of have to watch where you put it. It is gorgeous in the landscape, but you may not want it right up next to your house.
Okay.
Because if the little branches fall off, they might have thorns on them. So just put it somewhere where you can view it and enjoy it in your in a sunny area. Next, our famous Ginkgo biloba.
I like ginkgo.
The ginkgo tree. This is a zone 4 to 9 tree. So it grows in a large part of the United States. It is extremely slow growing, but it will get tall. This will get up to 50 feet or more.
Wow, that's impressive.
But it does very well with the city, and it tolerates soils and environmental conditions that most trees don't take.
Okay.
But it's a very ancient tree, and it has survived a long time, and so it can take our cities and the kind of environments that we have in the city.
Which is good. So
It's
we have to
very
know the
good.
difference between the male and the female tree, though, right?
You do, yeah. They usually are only selling the male trees
good,
these days, and clones of them.
Okay.
And what they'll do is they'll graft onto stock. So then you make sure you'll have a male tree, because you definitely don't want the female tree. Yeah, but all of that is edible, though. The berries of it, if you do have a female tree, they are edible, and they're delicacy in some parts of the world. So
really?
yeah.
It just smells so bad.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
it does.
Okay.
But anyway, you can't beat the yellow fall foliage color of
I love
ginkgo,
it. Absolutely
and
love
it's not a full tree. That's why I recommend it for the city, because it's a very loose fitting tree. You wouldn't want to have it for a shade tree.
Gotcha.
So that's
love
why I recommend it. Next, we've got Magnolia virginiana, a native to the United States, the Sweet Bay magnolia. It is zones 5 through 9, height of 20 to 30 feet. Now, that's in its native habitat, which is some of the further south from here, and the coastal states, it can get 50 feet plus.
Wow, that's pretty
So,
size.
I mean, it just depends on where it's at. But they have beautiful lemon-scented flowers when they bloom in the late spring or the early summer. Nice to have near your patio or something to be able to smell them. The leaves are green above and silvery below.
I think that's cool.
And when the wind blows, that silver shows, and it's a real pretty tree. It can withstand very wet conditions, very, very wet. So if you have an area that needs a wet tree, wet conditioned tree
This
in
is
it.
it.
This is it. In fact, this
the
is what's
one.
planted out front here at WKNO because it's very, very wet out there.
Right.
Very wet conditions. So this tree lives well there.
Right.
And in some areas and some cultivars, it will stay evergreen, but not all of them. Just
Okay,
some
just some.
cultivars will stay evergreen
All right, Joellen. So tree varieties for the homeowner.
for the homeowner.
to consider. And we actually have a few of these trees in our own landscape, huh?
Yeah.
All right, good deal. Thank you much.
We're in late winter now, and it's a lot of the annual color that has been put in is starting to look ratty, so we're going to clean it up. One way to revitalize the plants in your landscape after a hard winter is just to prune back the dead and the ratty looking plants. When you do prune an annual, you want to go all the way to the base of the stem that looks ratty, leave the new foliage. A lot of the old foliage has been protecting the new growth that's coming out. So what I usually do is go back and take out any stem that has lost foliage off of it or has a lot of brown and dead looking, and you cut it all the way back to the base of the plant. As you can see, this looks a whole lot better, just a little winter cleanup.
Here's our Q&A segment. You ready?
Ready.
These are good questions. Here's our first viewer email. I am renting a home that has 3 pecan trees, all of which are infested with webworms. One of the trees so infested, the webbing encases the trunks of the branches all the way down to the main trunk of the tree. The trees are sickly. My landlord will not agree to remove the trees, nor will he treat them. What are my options for getting this infestation under control? And this is Debbie right here in Memphis, Tennessee. That's pretty. That's pretty bad.
I've never seen anything like that.
That's a bad case.
Yeah, it's a
there.
bad case of encasings. Yeah, that's
Yes.
pretty bad.
Yes.
So, what are we thinking here?
Oh, somehow we've got to get some systemics in the plant to maybe when the bugs are chewing on the leaves, and they'll ingest that and be controlled that way. Although timing of year for that is going to be interesting because the webworms don't usually come till the end of the fall.
Right.
So you're gonna have to put it down during the summer,
summer.
when it's actively growing, so
Right.
it can take the chemical up. But
And also, since we're dealing with this, if it's a smaller case of it, if you can remove the web.
Right.
But some people will stick holes in it, get a big stick, punch a hole in it, and the birds will go in there and eat the worms. That's kind of, I guess, a natural way to deal with it. But a case like that would be pretty tough. Now, they could also use a BT product, that will work on taking care of the worms. Maybe 7 could be a product as well, but that one's pretty bad there.
Yeah, and they're pretty tall trees, so you're trying
Yes.
to get the
Yes,
spray
trying
up
to
there
get
is
to
going to
that.
be
Yes.
a problem.
Yes.
And like you mentioned, the landlord, it's not going to do anything. So yeah, probably treating it with the systemic is
Yes, probably your best option. Wow. And you would want imidacloprid would be
Right,
the
right,
choice
right.
you would want.
there's because once the webbing's on there, you can't get spray into the.
right. It has to be opened
Yes,
up.
it has
That's
to
like
be-
you mentioned, right?
Has to be before they start
Yeah.
with
Wow.
the webs. And the younger the caterpillars are, the better.
All right, good luck to you, Miss Debbie. Here's our next viewer email. What is this plant? I transplanted it from a friend's yard. I don't know what it is, and this is Doris from right here in Memphis, Tennessee. So, Joellen, what is this plant?
It's an arum.
It's an arum. It's
And
beautiful.
It's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Yes.
And they have that gorgeous foliage. And then earlier, in different times of the year, then the stalk will come up and they'll have nice red.
Yeah, the little red. Yeah, I like that.
They're
Yeah.
real pretty.
Right.
People plant them a lot.
A bit in the spring. Okay.
Because it's a great plant for a shady area.
For a
'cause
shady
it does
area.
like shade.
Okay. Yeah, it's a beautiful leaf. Yeah, I like the
Yes.
arrow-shaped leaf. Okay. All right, so thank you, Ms. Doris, for the question. Here's our next viewer email. I have a small forest on my property in East Tennessee. I was hoping to plant some flowering shrub plants within. It consists of mostly hardwood trees. Do you have any recommendations? I was thinking of bluebells, but I'm not sure which variety to get and when to plant. And this is Ursula in Knoxville, Tennessee. Beautiful picture, Miss
Yes.
Ursula. I like that picture.
gorgeous.
God, that looks good. Appreciate the picture. So, Miss Ursula, we just happen to have Miss Joella with us today,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Who knows all about planting these
Yes.
annuals and perennials and things like that, and these native plants. So, what say you?
She's right. The
okay.
bluebells would be beautiful.
Right, right,
May
right.
apples would
May
be
apples,
nice.
okay.
All sorts of things that can grow in there. Columbine and if you want to do some trees, how about some dogwoods,
okay.
some redbuds, the downy serviceberry,
Right.
sweet bay magnolia, the buckeyes. Oh, get some
Yeah, I think about
hummingbird
the buckeyes.
action
Yeah,
with the red buckeyes. So all of that is understory and at the edge, and looks like there's enough sunlight there in the middle that she can plant a lot of that stuff just under some of the larger trees, and they all look nice together.
So there you have it, Ursula, right here, right? Miss Joellen, okay. Yeah, thank you again for that picture. Real nice.
Really nice.
All right, so Walter, Joella, we're out of time. It's been fun.
It has been.
It's been fun, all right? Remember, we love to hear from you. Send us an email or letter. The email address is familyplot@wkno.org, and the mailing address is Family Plot 7151 Cherry Farms Road, Cordova, Tennessee 38016. Or you can go online to familyplotgarden.com. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us. To learn more about growing broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower, or to find out more about the trees Joellen talked about, go to familyplotgarden.com. We have links to extension publications you can print and take into your garden. Be sure to join us next week for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South. Be safe.